I don't feel as if I changed my vocabulary so much as expanded it to a certain extent. But then again, lots of things in my life have changed, especially over the last few years. I mean, for one thing, I was a very urban, from a very poorish background kid, living mostly in fairly rough places. So to a certain extent, I needed to have a tough exterior, not to make art, but just to get down the street. So those things have changed. I mean, I don't live in London anymore. I live in the countryside. The kind of things that are coming into focus are different things. The environment that I'm living in, what I'm in front of my eyes all the time, has found its way into the things I'm making. I made these works almost by accident. It began last summer. I'd had a pair of tights that I'd made using a previous sculpture, but some years ago. Because I hadn't finished it, I didn't need to, I just sort of crushed it up and just put it away. And last summer, for one reason or another, I was going through a cupboard or a shed and came across this and suddenly realised its potential. I suddenly found myself making a whole body of work. And I thought, well, as this has happened so quickly and they just seem so powerful, I'd like to have an exhibition, more or less immediately. This is how I felt about the move from London to living in the countryside, in a rural environment. That it seems, in a funny way, quite a radical thing to do, to make that kind of a move, and also to try and make some powerful works in this kind of environment, because we start to think that powerful is only political or urban or something to do with the social commentary. So in a way, to me, in the making of it, it seems quite edgy to be having that stance. I mean, it's like history. That's one of the interesting things, to have these works in the Cycladic. I don't know where this leads, but if you took time out of it and just looked at the works as the works, and obviously the Cycladic people must have had other kinds of artefacts that weren't made of stone and therefore didn't last all that time. In a way, I think people have always been the same. You know, if you think about Socrates and the things that were going on, and they're no different from things going on politically now. It's not this idea that people were so much more primitive. I don't think it's true. And in terms of a more personal development, what surprises me often is how much things do change, but they're still very consistent. It's still recognisable in a way. I think I once said that making art is like having a nail file and being in prison and trying to escape just with a nail file. You have to be, in a way, you have to do the work, or you have to beaver away at it. Now I think the same sort of thing, but I think it's really important to be imaginative. Even when you do something and for a moment it seems quite an innovation to yourself, like you've just done something and it's a surprise and you've never seen it before and you think, great, I've done something. Very quickly that becomes another groove. So I think you've always got to try and think outside the groove. I've tended to have sex as a theme, but in a very loose way, because actually sex is in everything anyway. And it always seemed to me, first of all, I have to interest myself. I have to be doing something that seems to me, you know, I have to keep my own interest up or I wouldn't make anything. And it is about communicating with other people, so it's about what matters to people, really. And it seems to me that, in a way, sex is the real currency, it's not money. So it begins with sex, and your life is actually a sexual cycle, really. And everything has it. The plants have it, the birds have it. I mean, that's it, really. So it's a good theme. It's sort of endless.